All right, so this next panel is a very simple way of creating this sort of interesting random character, okay? You're going to use, I believe it is under vector, okay, and grid, right? There's a thing there called populate 2D. What populate 2D does is it randomly generates points, okay, randomly generates points in a rectangular field. So if we look at the component for populate 2D, it's got 4 inputs. So the first one at the top is the region or rectangle. It doesn't have to be a rectangle, but it can be any kind of shape. In our case, it's a rectangle. Okay? So one way to go about doing that is to create a rectangle in Rhino, feed it into a rectangle param, and then feed the param into here. Okay? Let's look at the second one. The second one is the number of random points that it's going to place inside of that rectangle. Okay, so those two things make sense to you? Yeah. All right. The third one is the seed. That just allows you, if you create a number slider from 1 to 100 with 0.00, it gives you infinite variables. Or not infinite, but a lot of variables. All right, and the last one we really aren't going to use. It's going to give us a points parameter. That's if you want to use this for a different thing. I believe that that's used for like Voronoi patterns and stuff like that. We don't need that. What we need is just a random field of dots. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take and create a rectangle. All right? And pretty much what I did is when I created my rectangle, I got my 10-foot panel out here. Right? But I offset in 3 inches. Okay? So that the largest circles wouldn't come within 1.5 inches of the edge. I fed that into the curve param. Okay. And what I did is I used my random number generator. Okay. The same one that I've been using all along. It establishes a domain, smallest circle, biggest circle. Okay. It's got the same random seed, so you can create all sorts of different like groupings and patterns. But notice this here, right, in the random thing. It wants to know how many items there are. So in the previous definition, the earlier definition, we used list length, right? It gives us the length of the number of data items that's in a list. So what I did is I took the pop2D, fed a curve. Don't worry about the count. You can set the count at any point. And I fed that into the position of the circles. So every point that's generated, here, let me turn this on, space on, and I'll turn the circles off. So what pop2D does is it gives you a field of points. And you can increase the density or decrease the density. Okay? So I'd like you guys to give that a try right now. So take a look at what's going on up here before you start working. This will take any shape and it'll drop a bunch of random points on it, right? You can tell it how many random points you want later. At first it'll start with 100. It's fine. You need your random number generator, and you need to understand that the domain for this is going to always be the same, right? This is always going to be the same. It's a number slider. The variable here is how many points are there. We need to know how many points there are. And for that, we used list length coming out of here. This tells us the number of points. Feed that into there. The radius goes into the circles. Okay? Give it a try.